publicly congratulate Senator Carper on doing an outstanding job as chairman of this subcommittee. I was concerned that after I did not have the chairmanship, where we were going. And Senator Carper, as he has in the past, when I was chairman of the National Governors, he became president or chairman, did a better job than I did. We were both active in the Jobs for American Graduate. He was vice chairman, then became chairman, did a better job. And I just want to say that I'm really tickled that Senator Carper has taken this on and is giving it the attention that it deserves, because it's very, very important at this time. I just want to publicly thank you, Tom, for what you're doing.
The chair will yield as much time as the gentleman from Ohio needs.
Okay, thanks.
Let me just say, I'm going to interrupt here. I stand on the shoulders of those who came before, both in the NGA and Jobs for America's Graduates on this committee and subcommittee. It's just a joy to work with George.
Lamar, you and I are left out of this thing, aren't we?
Not for long.
Anyhow, I'd like to welcome the commissioners and the panelists, and I look forward to hearing your testimony. It's heartwarming to see we have a full panel today, 5 commissioners. And I made a promise to a former member, former commissioner, a man by the name of Ed McGaffigan. And he was on his last legs, and he came to see me in my office. And he made me promise that I would continue to take an interest in the NRC as much as I had been, and that I would do everything in my power to make sure that we had outstanding people as commissioners. And Mr. Chairman, I'm very, very proud of the people that are sitting in front of us. They are an outstanding group of individuals, and we're lucky to have the quality of individuals that we have that are on the commission. Mr. Chairman, as you know, I've spent better part of 10 years involved in shaping nuclear energy policy for the country. And during that time, the committee has focused a great deal of time and effort on oversight of the NRC. And we did this primarily to make sure it was doing its job, ensuring the safety and security of our nation, nuclear plants, but also to ensure that the NRC was ready to meet the challenge of enabling a nuclear renaissance in this country. I take great pride in the fact that this committee has helped the NRC become one of the best and most respected regulatory agencies in the world. If imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, then the world is paying NRC a very high compliment, because most of the countries in the world today adopt the NRC standards and practices. On a personal note, I was at the Santa Fe Seminar on Nuclear Energy in November of last year. I met with the Japanese representatives. They sought me out just to let me know how much they thought of our NRC and the fact they thought it was the gold standard in the world. We've worked very hard as a committee to place the right people on the commission, and I've already talked about that. The thing that I'm also very proud of is that the NRC, I don't know if the commissioners know that, is known as the best place to work in the entire federal government.
That's right.
Best place to work. Nevertheless, the committee and the NRC have got to remain vigilant. Although the operating performance of today's plants has continued to improve, both industry and the NRC must remain focused on safety, or we're going to lose the public support for nuclear power. I mean, just see what's happened now with that oil rig down there, and what it's done to people's feeling about going after more oil. For those at the hearing, I want to reinforce that we all understand that nuclear safety is a global issue. A reactor accident anywhere in the world will greatly affect public support for nuclear power here in the United States. This means that industry and the NRC cannot be inwardly focused on the U.S. and instead must monitor developments internationally and coordinate safety information with the appropriate nuclear authorities. Enhancing public support is absolutely essential for the rebirth of this industry. And our country does need nuclear power. I like to tell people nuclear is a threefer. It provides the reliable baseload electricity our country demands, and people forget about that. It's 20% of our energy, 70% of our clean energy comes from nuclear. It will help us reach our goal of reducing carbon emissions, and it will strengthen our manufacturing base and create good-paying jobs. And Mr. Chairman, I wasn't aware of how many jobs this protected are going to have during the next 10 years. As demonstrated by President Obama's recent call for increased use of nuclear power in a State of the Union address and the DOE's fiscal budget, year budget of 11, additional $36 billion for nuclear loans are going to be provided. I think that momentum is building and the policy environment in the U.S. is shifting toward the growth of nuclear power. The bipartisan center, and Senator Emhoff, you mentioned what they did. They came back with a pretty darn good evaluation, both sitting down and watching with looking at the commission and getting opinions. And Chairman Yasko, I want to commend you for the great job that you're doing as a leader there. The fact that people looking over your shoulder have said, hey, these people are trying to do the right job, and although there are some still things that need to be done, and my suggestion would be they've got some suggestions, and I know in your response you indicated that we'd start to look at some of those in 2011. I'd really like to particularly look at the environmental study that has to be made to try and make sure that whoever does that has got the gear to get that job done. I'm also hearing from CEOs of companies they're very interested in new plants, but not just for new large light water reactors, but also for the SMRs. And we met recently with the American Society of Nuclear Scientists, and they talked about how we've fallen behind in terms of after 3 Mile Island, and that we have this excellent opportunity to get back in the business with these modular units, and particularly in light of the fact that the cost of the big ones is so almost prohibitive, that this is a wonderful opportunity for our country and also to not only create jobs, but get back in the international marketplace. And that's one of the things that I'm hoping that the Commission will kind of look at to see where we are, just opposed, say, with China. China's trying to get in the business, and others are. Where are we? And how can we kind of recapture our leadership in this area? Mr. Chairman, I've spoken too long. I've exceeded my time, but I'm just excited to be here today. And Brother McGaffigan is looking down at us now, and he's got a big smile on his face. Thank you.
Thank you for invoking that name, George. And among the things that unite the four of us on this side of the dais are our interest in reducing emissions of sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, and mercury. And the four of us have probably worked as hard as anybody in the Senate on those issues. And one of the things that kind of draws us together is the realization that nuclear power done right can help us reduce those emissions and do a lot of other good things as well. I'm very, very pleased to be able to partner with Lamar Alexander on this issue as we work and find, I think, common ground and come close to finding common ground with Senator Inhofe and with Senator Voinovich. Lamar.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I salute Senator Carper